Welcome to the American Dream Podcast, where we explore stories of individuals who are searching for their dreams in this land of opportunity. I'm your host, Katrina, and in today's episode, we delve into the story of Lorenzo, who hails all the way from Italy. Join us as we uncover his experiences, challenges, and triumphs in pursuit of his version of the American dream. Welcome aboard. This is the American Dream Podcast. I'm in a studio with Signor Lorenzo. I love Italian language so much because the dialect is similar to Russian, so it's simpler for me to pronounce your name than anyone else's name. Yes. Lorenzo.
Yes, very good.
What is your last name?
Antignano.
Okay, that one will be challenging. I'm not sure if I can repeat that. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
When I hear Italy, I immediately think of picture-perfect landscapes and delicious foods. Rome, Venice, all of these places are filled with beautiful history, beautiful people, architecture. So why did you leave? Let's start with your background. I feel like if I was born in Italy, I would never want to leave.
Yes, I get that question all the time. Like, why are you here?
Yes.
I came as an exchange student in September of 2012 in high school.
Oh.
That's how I applied for the exchange program. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I ended up in the States at first. And it was a totally random placement. So I was in Eastern Kentucky, in the middle of nowhere. Literally in the middle of nowhere. A very small place.
Interesting.
And that's how my journey began here in the States.
So share a little bit about your background in Italy specifically. Where in Italy are you from? How was your life in Italy before you moved here?
So I've done a little bit of everything growing up. I grew up in Milan, Italy, northern side of Italy.
Beautiful place.
Yes, fashion capital of the world.
Yes.
Very architectural city, fashion city. I mean, it's beautiful. So I actually am from a suburb of Milan. It's called San Donato Milanese. It's very, very close to downtown, really. And followed the high school. I mean, scientific high school, which is school. It's a lot more difficult in Italy. I had some military high school also for a year. I've attended that. And then I came across the opportunity of coming to be an exchange program, an exchange student for a year in the States in high school, and be my senior year in high school. So I was like, well, I'm gonna learn the language. It's gonna open my mind, and you know, it's only gonna be positive.
So you were only about what, 18 years old?
I was 18. Yes.
Did you speak English before?
I mean, probably like yourself in school, we had to study English, but it's like 1 or 2 hours per week, so it's not really much.
And no practice with native speakers.
Yes. And like when somebody asked me what it takes to learn the languages, you have to be in the location 24/7. You can't just take an hour course, because then you go back to your normal speaking language, and that's just gonna forget everything else. So I barely knew English, just enough to survive. Because I came to the airport and I had to ask, "Hey, where's my bag?" Things like that. And I made it. My the agent that was taking care of me as a student picked me up at the airport and took me to my host family. And,
so you were only 18 years old, so you were super young still,
yes,
and you're trying to survive in this new country.
Yes.
Did you had any expectations of what your life as a foreign exchange student is going to look like in America?
Okay, so I had the opportunity to choose a location through the program, but I chose not to, because so that it would limit the expectations that I had. Because if you have expectations, a lot of times you get disappointed, and so it's good to start without expectations, especially because it was such a new experience and such a strong experience, really. It was, really the first impact was not so positive, just because I come from a huge city and I ended up in the middle of nowhere. I landed in Lexington, Kentucky at probably midnight, and it was a 2-hour drive with no lights on the roads. It was just, I was like, where are we?
Where am I? Is this America?
And like in the middle of the hills. But it turned out to be a great experience. And so that's why I eventually went back home and renewed my visa and started college in the States.
What was your biggest challenge when you just moved here?
My biggest challenge was probably the language. I just couldn't understand anything, especially so Eastern Kentucky has a strong accent. I mean, like not the regular English. So it was extra hard. And so not on top of learning the language, I had to be used to the
slang.
Yes, correct. And so that was very, very difficult. I was lucky because all the students, small town, they see an Italian student, and so like they all get curious. So I was lucky, I was welcomed very well. I always had friends around me. I always had people around me. It just the challenge was the language. I always had to ask, what did they say? Like the speaker phones in schools with announcements and stuff. And I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. So it was, or when I was in a group of friends and they would tell me a story, I would be like, what? What? And then after the 5 or 6 times, they'd be like, never mind.
Yes.
And then I just felt so bad every time. I was like, come on, try to, I want to understand. So at first that was the difficulty.
How did you overcome that?
Just stay patient. I brought a little dictionary, which some of my friends made fun of me for it, which it was funny. I would just carry around this little dictionary. So like if I didn't understand some words, I would go look and try to translate it. I would try to listen as good as I could. And a lot of the words I couldn't understand, but I would try to build the meaning of the sentence based on what I knew, and then a little bit of the time I would add new words that I would pick up, when somebody spoke, and so eventually, built up some vocabulary, and I was able to understand more. But like I said, I was lucky. I always had people that were curious to learn about me, and so therefore it was the opposite as well. I had the opportunity to be around all the students, and the principal was super cool and super friendly. My host family was amazing. It was a great experience. So like they limited the challenges as much as possible.
Great.
So,
That's great.
That was great.
What did you think about American culture? Them showing up in pajamas to school.
Right.
You coming from Milan, which is the fashion city.
That's a good.
And everyone in pajamas around you.
That's a good point. I forgot all about that because in high school there was all of these themed days, and sometimes it was pajama day, and I was like, my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, so different. In school, I mean, I loved school here in the States. It was very enjoyable. Couldn't believe how certain students would complain how hard it was, homework and all that, and I was like, you have no idea. And so I loved school here. I mean, it was all about sports, all about the pep rally in the gym, all these fun events. And school in Italy was all about grades, studying, and interrogations and exams, and it was awful. I mean, it prepares you for university and all that. But in comparison, as far as what was more fun, definitely American high school. And
probably easier too.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's not. I thought that my high school in Italy was more difficult than college here, by far.
So you first went to high school here as a foreign exchange student, and then when did you decide that you want to stay here? When was that point?
So, America is the land of opportunities. Italy is a pretty bad economy. Tax rates are really high, and it's just future-wise, there's not so many open doors. And I had the opportunity to come here for a year. I got pretty decent at speaking the language, so I made a little bit of connection. So I just figured that I would give it a chance to try to go to college here and improve my educations and try to build something here. At first I didn't really have a plan to be here long term. It was just a learning language, learning cultural experience to just gain extra education for myself and just
So you went to college here. What did you study? What is your career now? Share a little bit about that.
I went to school for business. I have a small catering and private chef business here in Spiringfield. And so I've been around food my whole life. I just figured that I needed to go to school for the business aspect of it. So yes, I went to Missouri State. It was pretty awesome. I was married at the time. I mean, I'm still married, but I went to school as married, so I didn't really get to enjoy all the famous American college things like fraternities, parties, and all that. Yes, so I got to skip that part, which kind of sucks, but I think that is
for the
also
best.
Yes, it sucks, but I'm proud of it because I see a lot of people that are just they just
ruining their future
so much debt because they just blow so much money on financial aid. There's all these things, and so at the end of the day, yes, no, I'm happy that it went the way it did.
So now you said you're a private chef. Share a little bit about that. What is the name of you said it's a company?
Yes, yes, we have a little company called What's Alfredo.
Sounds pretty stereotypical.
Yes, What's Alfredo with a question mark? Because in Italy, Alfredo sauce doesn't really exist.
It's not.
Yes, so it's that's why I've always been very particular, and like always been the guy that goes against the current. And when I started a business, a lot of people told me that it wasn't really a good name or whatever I should call it. Lorenzo's Kitchen, Lorenzo's this, blah blah blah. I just said, I don't care. Alfredo doesn't exist, so I'm just gonna challenge everybody their knowledge of what they think is Italian food, even though it's not really Italian food. So like the Italian food that we're still stuck on in America is old school Italian food. So like Alfredo sauce, meatballs, chicken piccata, and all these things that are nowhere to be found.
Why?
In
Why
Italy.
is Alfredo not existent anymore in Italy?
We do have like a creamy sauce. It's just not called that. It's very like it's a comfort dish. It's essentially a pasta dish that's tossed in some Parmigiano cheese, butter, and cooking water. Right? And so the starchiness from the cooking water creates that creaminess with the cheese and all that. So that's the dish. And so now it's turned into this massive concept of fettuccine Alfredo, chicken Alfredo, all this dish, all these restaurants have Alfredo this, Alfredo that. I've worked in an Italian restaurant here in Spiringfield. I'm not going to say which one, but they make an Alfredo from packets, like powders.
Oh, yeah.
So what at this? So now I'm asking. So it's such a big concept and it's relatable to Italy, and that has nothing to do with what we would do in Italy. Serving the same dish. Might not call it the same. Might call it different. It's just not the same thing. So like the Alfredo sauce, it's not Italian whatsoever.
My mind is blown right now. It destroyed. Like there's a bomb inside of my head. I had no idea.
Yeah. So that's why I call it What's Alfredo? ?
Wow. I need to tell my boyfriend about this because he is always like, I want some Italian food. I want like chicken, pasta, Alfredo. So like that's the first thing. That's why I thought you named it that because Alfredo is super Italian thing. But apparently
a lot of people think that as well. I just, for those who do, that's also kind of beneficial for me because then they think we are Italian, even though it's their thought of Italian.
Wow.
So then, but I really like to when I have a client that's wanting to book a dinner with us, I always try to push dishes that are not known. So like the ones I mentioned. I never really do unless it's really requested. Hey, we really would like for you to make a chicken piccata, and so I would do that. But as far as me suggesting the menu options, I would never suggest Alfredo, those things.
So it's just gross to you?
The way they make it here, yeah. It's just not, it's heavy. It's so heavy. Like
it is. Just like most American food. That's what American people love, though. So they love heavy foods.
But because I think that they love heavy food, but they haven't had the chance to try otherwise. Because those who do have the chance to travel, they don't enjoy that type of food.
No.
And because, most of the clients we have don't eat at those those restaurants.
So why did you decide to open up a company? So this is like catering, right? You basically cater.
Most of it we do in-house. So it's private chef in-house. So I come to your house and we cook at your house and serve you multiple courses, clean our working area, so the kitchen and all that, and then pack up and leave. So it's more 95% of my business is private chef service, and then I'd say 5 to 10% is catering, to where the food gets dropped off and then you deal with it the way you want, essentially.
So why that and not a restaurant?
So it's a hard question, but there's a lot of restaurants, a lot of competitions here, and I feel like the population of Springfield is very, I don't know how to...
Olive Garden is what they love.
Yeah, but if they don't like Olive Garden, they will like another thing, and then they just... It's hard to get them to learn something else or transition to something new, you know? They want to have a picture of the dish, it's just... You have to give them a lot for them to try something new.
Yes.
And I don't think that's... I don't know how to explain it. It's just not a modern way of thinking. Let's put it that way. I like to always try new things and
so they're more close-minded.
Yes, they're definitely close-minded on food. I think. I mean, I've had clients that did not allow me to venture out whatsoever, and I forced them to. Well, it's not that I forced them, but so like. I would make a creme brulee, right? So my most requested desserts is creme brulee, and I cook for these guests multiple times, and I'm like, please let me make you something else. I guarantee you will like it. No, creme brulee. Like, okay. So I make the creme brulee, and then I also make something else that's just on me, so that they get to try something new, and they're like, oh my God, this is awesome. Next time we'll do that. So that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. Just allow yourself to try something new, you know?
Don't immediately judge it before you even try it.
So yes. And with the name, and like, I never wanted to have an Alfredo sauce or Alfredo dish in the menu, and restaurant owners that are friends of mine around here always told me that's a bad idea. Like, you know, because the Springfield citizen wants
Alfredo
to have that. Like, if they don't have that on the menu, then, and so that doesn't go along with my thoughts and how I want to. I believe in the foods that I serve, and which essentially is Italian food, modern Italian food, cooked with Italian techniques. It's nothing crazy. It's just I don't want to change the style of food just because they want that. And now if you try what I offer and you don't like it, then I will allow you to request whatever you want, you know. But I know for a fact that once you try, there's something new, and you'll be like, wow, you know, there's more out there, you know.
So how can people book you?
So we do some Facebook advertisements, Instagram. We post on
what
social
is your
media.
Facebook?
What's
Instagram?
Alfredo?
Okay.
It's What's Alfredo all over.
Okay.
Instagram is, I think it's What's Alfredo LLC. But
and we'll put all the links in our podcast as well.
We do fundraising events also. So there's multiple nice fundraising companies around here, and so we donate some of our services as for auction, so like that we can raise money for these companies, these nonprofit organizations, and also get our name out there, because you know, people that attend these events are usually the type of clients that we look for, and you know, things like that.
Speaking of that, I was going to ask you, you mentioned about Americans having more closed mind here in the Midwest, in Springfield, Missouri area. Have you ever thought about moving somewhere like LA or Chicago, where there is multicultural events going on constantly? There is, you know, Chinatown.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I definitely did, because, you know, my experience in the States has been in Eastern Kentucky and in Springfield, which Springfield's a lot bigger than where I come from, in Kentucky. but still not comparable to my Italian roots.
Of course.
It's just I've lived in Springfield for a few years now, and like we have a lot of friends, and like we've established a little bit here, and just the idea of starting back from zero with like not knowing anybody and all that doesn't really sound that good. So like if I had to move again, it will probably be closer to Italy, because I've been gone for 12 years almost. It's going to be my 12th year.
That's a long time.
And it's becoming very stressful and difficult to be away from home for so long.
Yes, absolutely.
I get to go home about a month, 2 months of the year if I can. I used to.
Well, you're lucky.
When I was a student, I used to be able to go a lot more often. Now I can't, because if I'm not here, I don't make money essentially.
Absolutely.
Because I'm the face of the business. I can't send employees out or.
So, are you living your American dream yet? What do you think of the American dream? What is it for you?
What is the American dream, right?
Yes.
I think that it can be called that. I think that I'm living my American dream. It's just I guess it's more of a personal perspective of what is the American dream and what makes somebody happy at the end of the day, really. So, because that's the American dream, the Italian dream, any dream is what makes somebody accomplished and happy at the end of the day. So, working on it. I don't know if in the long term I want to live here or want to be closer to my family. So I'm working on that decision essentially. Not really a decision, but just trying to see where I should be for the near future. I've been away from home for a long time, and
absolutely,
and it sucks to like mom and dad get older, my grandma get older, my brother gets older, and like miss so many things that I'll never get back.
Yes,
and so I can always come back here and work on the American dream, but as of right now, I think that the business that we have going on is not so bad, and I initially wanted to open a restaurant, and I might still want to open a restaurant, and I think that will be probably my American dream. But running a food business is also my American dream, because that's what I like doing. I like cooking for people. I like hearing their feedback. I like my favorite part is when I'm in the kitchen just doing my things, and the guests are talking to each other, assuming that I don't hear anything because I'm not in their presence, and they're like talking so good about the food and all that, and that's my biggest pleasure. So that I'm happy about that I'm able to do that.
Speaking of Italy, what aspects of your Italian culture or values do you bring with you in your pursuit of American dream?
Okay, so family is a huge thing for us, and I know that in America they speak big of like family concepts, but I don't think that. I think that they miss out on a lot, because I believe that our values are like family events and family moments are stronger, I think, in Italy.
What's
just
the difference?
Having dinner at the table, like for example,
Yeah.
Like sitting down at the table having dinner together instead of on the couch while you watch the TV. Just
actually dedicating the time
to be like asking how your day was, and just that, but
without devices or
correct.
any distractions.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot here in the States, and I grew up differently, and that's one big thing. Family events are just a little bit different.
You also mentioned that you have a wife. You're still married.
Yes.
Do you guys have children?
No, we do not.
Okay. So maybe with your family, with your wife, do you bring any of those values to the table? Do you explain to her that this is how I grew up and this is the cultural traditions that I would like to pass along to our future?
Yes. I would like to be real close to when we plan on having kids. And yes, the family values is extremely important to me. So my mom and dad dedicated their lives to me and my brother, essentially. and they still do. And I see a lot of selfishness here from parents to their kids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like I took care of you until you're 18. Now you go to college, figure it out, get out of the house. You know, I can see a lot of that here.
Yeah.
And that's just, but I see it also with a perspective from a guy that's away from home for a long time. So like that's just makes it extra, you know, hurtful to see for me. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but
Which sometimes it could be a good thing. I mean, I've lived here since I was 16. I'm now 25. And in these like 9 years of me living here, that was the point of me growing up here. Mentally, me being more mature, physically. And I saw that my mom is from Russia, just like me. It was just the two of us. And her mindset, when I said, Mom, I want to move out, she said, what? You're not married. Where are you moving out? This is totally the same in the countries on the other side of the planet. I feel like a lot of people are still staying with their parents until they're married, or until they're becoming so rich, I guess, and they just buy themselves a house and start living more independently. So I can relate to that 100%.
Right. And it's not necessarily living at the house with your mom and dad, but just the importance of spending time with your parents and your family members. It's two different worlds.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think. And I miss that from home.
So has there been any significant moment or a milestone of your journey so far that just makes you the proudest?
I've built a lot of strong relationships with people that I have met and spent time with here in the States, you know, with my host family and friends and just like essentially, yes, like between my host family and friends, that just made it a world of a difference. My exchange student agent, like all these people helped move, like making happen the fact that I came back and started going to college. So, you know, like figuring out all these things, and I had people that helped me out, and we're still extremely close, and so yes, like I have a second family here in the States, and I mean, without them, without like these few people that have made it all happen and are always there, available, always like treat me like their own son, is probably the big part of it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I always like to ask people about stereotypes when they move from a certain country to the US, because in America they have stereotypes for every single country.
Oh yeah.
So tell me about Italian stereotypes in America. What is it about Italian people that every American wonders about or thinks that this is how Italian people are?
Right. So we get our stereotypes from movies. It's just like I get asked such dumb questions all
Tell
the
me
time.
about them.
You know, it's just like, like mafia and pizza.
That's
and,
right,
like, it's
Italian
just
mafia,
stupid.
of course, of course.
Yeah. So I mean,
And Italian people speak with their hands.
yeah, no,
a
that's
lot.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And
See,
there's
that's a
even
true
gesture
stereotype.
like this
Yeah.
means I'm tired of you or something, or what does that mean? Or
Like I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And then there's another gesture that you guys do. What is it?
Like something like that.
Yeah. What does that
What are you
mean?
talking about? What are you saying? Like, what's going on?
I haven't noticed you do that a single time yet during this interview.
Well, you haven't said anything wrong. So
Oh,
I
okay.
So when you greet somebody that you know, like there's the kiss on the cheeks thing on
That's
both
right.
cheeks.
Have you
That's
tried
one
kissing
thing.
somebody that you met for the first time when you just landed here in America, by the way?
I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have.
No?
No, like you wouldn't do that to somebody that's completely a stranger.
But in Italy you would?
No, like in Italy also, like I don't think that you would do that to somebody that's completely a stranger. You could probably shake your hand. Now, if it's like a family member, friends, or something like that, that's a little bit more not so stranger, then maybe. But like friends, even males, you know, like yeah, that's just a very normal thing.
Okay.
Americans give hugs.
Yes.
Big hugs, which I like about that.
So Americans think that since you're from Italy, you have a mafia.
Yes, and then also another very stupid question that I'm tired of getting.
What is the question?
Oh, I know Marco in Italy that's like, I met him years ago or whatever. Do you know him?
Oh my God. The funny thing is that they ask me that too sometimes. Right? And I understand that there are like some communities here that are, dedicated to specific culture and people from different countries are connected like that. But just because you met someone 100 million years ago doesn't mean we know them just because we're from the same country.
Yeah. I mean, Italy is a small country compared to the United States, of course. Yes. But it's still a fairly large territory. I mean, there's tons of people.
Absolutely.
It's just a dumb question. And it's not something I would ever ask somebody.
Absolutely.
If I was interested in knowing more about where you're from, I would never ask that. That's just dumb. But,
So before we step into a break, I have a question for you. Looking for your future, what are your aspirations and goals for continuing to fight or just living your American dream?
I think that starting a family will probably be in the near future. So I think that's
that's your main goal.
Yes, I think that's something that I'm gonna be 30 years old in 3 weeks. So it's starting. I'm starting to have the feel of wanting to start a family. So that's my wife. And also I would like my mom and dad to become grandparents. And things like that. Yeah.
And what would you recommend to people from Italy who are planning to immigrate to the United States and achieve their American dream? What message would you tell them?
I think that things have changed a lot, and even Americans themselves will tell you. Things have changed in the negative, and as far as quality of life and cost of life and everything. I mean, the health system is so bad in the States. So there's just things to be aware of. It's not like America is a land of opportunities. Just jump right into be doing your researches and just follow a path, And also I think that knowing somebody here helps a lot, for anything. Just going by yourself in such a big country, it can be tough. There's a lot. It's a war here. Like it's in the business. It's a war. Like there's no friends. There's not. It kind of sucks, but it's kind of like that everywhere. But
so do your research and be prepared for lots of competition.
Lots of competitions but also lots of opportunities. If you're willing to put in the work, I think that there's still a lot of opportunities here in the States, and it's a big place.
I'm in a studio with Lorenzo from Italy. Welcome to the show, and we're about to take a beautiful trip to your homeland, Italy. Yes. You said that you have a trip coming up here on Thursday?
Yes, leaving Thursday. I'm going for 3 weeks.
And you'll be going there with your wife?
Yes.
Is this her second time in Italy?
Oh, man. Fourth or fifth.
Oh, wow. How does she feel about that trip? How long does it take to get to Italy?
Too long. It takes at least 2 flights. We live in Spiringfield, middle of nowhere.
Well, yeah.
And so
from Springfield to Kansas City.
Yeah, it's gonna be Springfield, Atlanta, Milan. So
okay.
That's the best case scenario of a trip. But I've done trips to where you stop here and here and here.
Yeah.
And so
lots of layovers.
A good day is a 14-hour trip. A bad day, anything over that. So
roughly it takes about 2 days with the jet lag, with the time changes to get to your homeland.
Absolutely.
So as someone who calls Italy home, what do you believe makes your country a must-visit destination? I feel like it's a dumb question to ask because we all know how gorgeous Italy is. Even my boyfriend was like, oh, you interviewing a guy from Italy? Ask him about Rome and all the, Colisei and all the beautiful fountains.
Yeah.
In that beautiful country. Yes. So tell me, anything besides that, anything besides those places that everyone knows about, what do you think
is
the reason?
Yes, it's a good question because, I have a lot of friends that go to Italy, and when they visit, they ask me, "Hey, what should I do? What should I do?"
Yes.
But they end up going to the most touristical places, you know, Amalfi Coast, which it's awesome. You know, those places are beautiful. It's just everybody chooses to go there, you know, and there's secret areas. There's true places, hidden gems, what they call them. That's where I would try to go as a tourist. One place that's never gets mentioned is Sicily. I don't know why.
I actually have heard quite a bit about
Sicily
that place.
is definitely the place, number one place that I would suggest anybody going as a first time going to Italy. Rome and all that will always be there. But Sicily is an island south of Italy, and it's got the best food of the whole country, I believe. It's got seafood. It's got architectural things from the Romans and you know, back in the days. So I mean, it's a beautiful place, and it's not so touristical. So I mean, there's touristical places, but it's not Rome, Venice, Florence, Milan, to where it's just a touristic trap everywhere you go. You know, so Sicily is still staying behind a little bit with it, and so I think that's the place, number one place that I would definitely go.
So Sicily. Any other
Yes.
hidden destinations, maybe small villages that every tourist should explore more?
I'm a big skier. Skied my whole life, so definitely go skiing in Italy if you like skiing. First of all, if you go skiing in Italy for a week, including the flights, you will pay less money than going a weekend in Colorado to ski.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Number one thing, and number two is just they offer some of the best slopes in the world, the Dolomites, the Alps. And it's amazing. So you know, like one thing that people never talk about when they talk about Italy is the mountains and snow mountains and like, you know, places to residents for skiing and stuff like that. So I think that's cool. But that's something that I can suggest because I like skiing, you know. But there's also, you know, I'd definitely go to Rome. Rome is a week trip at least. You can't just go one day in Rome. I mean, if you really want to get into the depth of the history, you can't just go there a day. Especially because to enter into, say, the Colosseum or St. Peter's and whatever, you probably had to wait in line for a couple hours, at least, unless you pre-book online. So you got to know what you're doing. You know, if you know what you're doing, you book online, go over there with a prepaid ticket and all that, and it helps. But if you go there and just like, oh yeah, we're in Rome, let's do that, yeah, it's never gonna go through. It's just, you
need to pre-plan.
That's the touristic trap. Yes, you have to know how to be around the average. Like go because the average will just fall for all these traps and then end up paying more, end up waiting more, and not enjoying the most. You know, and so.
What about Venice?
I've never been to Venice, believe it or not. It's only like 3 hours from my house, but or 4 hours. I've never been to Venice. There's a lot of water. It's probably a place that I would visit, but there's so many other places that I would go. Just because Venice, yes, it's got the gondolas and the little creeks, but other than that, what's there in Venice? I mean, there's not really much else. And that is a touristic trap. That's just a trap. Like Venice is a trap. Like if you go to Italy, okay, I'm going to Venice. I ride the gondolas, thinking, okay, I traveled to Italy. There are just so many. I mean, if you like doing that, yeah, that's amazing. But it's not something I would recommend doing. I mean,
so besides water, there is not much to see in Venice.
No, there is definitely a few things. Like there's a nice cathedral, San Marco Plaza, and like there's definitely things to see and do. And that could maybe be a 1 day or 2 days place. But I would just try to go in the rustic areas. I would like to go in the heart of Italy, in Tuscany.
I've heard about that place.
Wineries, like all these places, or again in Sicily or south of Italy, there's a region called Calabria, Puglia. All of these regions, I mean, like it's got olive trees everywhere, orange trees, lemon trees. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, like there's you see things that is also enjoying nature and enjoying people that are not like they don't know much other than that, and they're extremely welcoming and it's just nice. I think it's nice, and they have nothing to take from you. It's not like you're going to visit a building or anything. So I mean, try to talk to people and the locals and try to like say I'm not going to say get invited into their homes, but it probably will happen. Like if you're friends with somebody, like if you make friends and if you're respectful and kind with the locals over there, they probably will invite you into their home to have dinner with them. You know?
I was going to ask you, what is the best way to explore Italy? Is it with a tourist guide? Is it with just somebody random that you would meet and become friends with, like at the restaurant next table? Is it by yourself?
I think that knowing somebody is great. Not everybody knows somebody abroad or in a foreign country, so that's probably 90%, 95% of the times that's not the occasion. I would try not to walk around on yourself, like by yourself. I mean, like if you have the experience of traveling, I mean, I can do things. I've traveled many places and had tons of experiences abroad, you know, just away from America, away from Italy, all over the place. And you know, I've made mistakes. I mean, all kinds of things. So now I know how to behave. I know what to do, what not to do. But that's the behavior that you have everywhere in a foreign place, you know? So just I always recommend, don't look naive when you walk around. Like, don't look like you're lost. And because then you get spotted instantly.
Yes, and people take advantage of that.
Unfortunately, we have pickpocket, or whatever you call them, the people that pick pockets and stuff like that, and like basically
robbers.
Essentially robbers. Yes, but so there's a lot of that, a little crime.
So you don't recommend exploring Italy by yourself. You need to have a plan.
You can still explore by yourself. Just don't be the little silly person that just dandling around, like not knowing anything.
Be confident.
Yes, be confident. Yes.
What is the best way of transportation in Italy?
Train. If you probably get to. You can, if you backpack Italy or whatever, if you go and try to move as much as possible into the country, trains, definitely. We have super fast trains. So you can go from Milan to Rome in like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And it's like a 6-hour drive, maybe even less. So like trains are very convenient. We have buses and we have subways.
Would you recommend renting a car?
No.
No,
because unless you're a skilled driver and not afraid of driving.
Is Italian drivers
That's what my
scary?
American friends tell me. They tell me that I'm a crazy driver when I'm in Italy, and I'm like, I am not. I gotta keep up with everybody else.
Is it fast, like the speed limit?
Fast.
What is the speed limit?
Well, it's not. So speed limit is essentially very, very similar to United States. We have cameras.
Oh, okay.
So there's cameras that catch you and take a picture of you, your license plate, and send you a bit.
Then why is it scary?
Like driving, it's scary because everybody's a very aggressive driver.
Temper.
Like they just wanna pass. Like so there's no wasting time in driving. There's just so like if you're if you're waiting in line, like you get passed all over the place and it looks like they're gonna hit you, you just do your thing, be aware of your surrounding. You can get a cab.
What is the cost? If you were to get a taxi in Italy and drive around Rome for a day, let's say, to visit.
Well, there's another suggestion that I would make rather than a taxi. If you're in Rome, I think that the most fun and most valuable for the dollar that you spend is like renting like Segways. The thing that you stand on with the wheels.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I mean that skips traffic. It's like you're walking. You're as big as a person walking.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Or bicycles, or all these little new technological like mopeds or whatever they have things right now. Definitely do something like that. It would be cool. if you ride a taxi in Rome or Milan, that's gonna take forever to go
traffic.
anywhere. Yeah, traffic is awful.
Yes.
And that's why it's not a good idea to drive, because
To
traffic
rent.
is so bad and people are aggressive drivers.
Yes.
And so if you're not used to it, it's not gonna be
No.
a fun experience. Like I said, my friends that I brought to Italy are not comfortable being in the car. And they tell me I'm a crazy driver, and I know for a fact that I'm not. There's way worse out there. So, yeah.
So what is the cost of Italy? Like a trip to Italy for American
much
people?
cheaper
Would it
than-
be?
People that can afford to travel will make so much more money than an Italian person that's eligible to travel as well. You know, so like the incomes in America are way higher than in Italy. Way higher, like probably quadruple the amounts. And so everything also, the cost of things is similar also in the same ratio. So if you work in America and if you can travel, chances are you can enjoy yourself very, very like in a large way in Italy, because entertainment doesn't cost as much there. You know, just to give you a stupid example, I took my friends and my wife to like a go-kart track, right? And race go-karts, actual go-karts that like go super fast, not the Branson ones that do
Okay.
like the dumb ones like that.
Okay.
Which, you know, it's a fairly expensive activity. And I think that we'd spend like $40-50 a piece. I mean, if you do this for like 30 minutes to an hour, I mean, we enjoy it a lot. To do something like that in America would probably cost $200, $250 a piece, you know, something like that. So the cost of entertainment is way low there. Way low.
So the cost of living is different in Italy, and
Yes.
it would be a great deal for American person
Absolutely.
to travel there.
Absolutely.
So speaking of fun things to do in Italy, what unique cultural experiences can a tourist see while in Italy? Is there a specific time of year that you would recommend going to Italy?
Yes. Not August. Not in the deep of the summer. July and August, I went to Rome, took my wife and my friends to Rome in August. It was miserably hot.
Oh.
So like big cities, very humid and all that. So avoid the big months like that, like hot months. And there's also a lot less crowded. So maybe like in the spring or fall, it's a lot cheaper too. You know, I always go home March, September, October, November, those months that are not like big months. You know, nobody really cares about those months. But you know, you probably go for like $500 a plane ticket.
Yeah.
But now that I'm going in May, it's like almost $2,000 a plane ticket. Yeah.
Any holidays
Holidays?
to see, or maybe traditional events?
One thing we do there that we don't in the States is a carnival, which is in February. And it's a lot like the Brazilian carnival, like a lot of costumes and a lot of like
What is that called?
parades. Huh?
What is that carnival called?
Carnevale.
Oh, just Carnivale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's one event that is it's pretty cool. Venus is actually huge for it. They have big parades and
Do they go in boats?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. There's also places with no water in Venus, but yeah, that's one thing.
And
Other
February would be
holidays-
perfect too
Yeah,
to go. It's
February.
not hot. It's probably going to be
kinda
cheaper.
cold.
It's going to be cold.
Yeah, it's kind of cold. It's very similar to our weather here in the Midwest. Not as
okay.
extreme. I mean, here
Not as
this winter
bipolar.
it got what, like negative 20 degrees here. We don't.
It's
we
crazy
don't know
for
those
you.
temperatures there.
Oh yeah,
It's just,
yeah. To me, I'm like, what is this? Give me some snow. Give me a blizzard.
Right? Yeah, it's just but.
So let's talk a little bit about cuisine, Italian cuisine. You said that you self-employed here in America. You are a private chef, and you said that a lot of Americans here don't really like to try new things.
Yes.
So if an American person were to go to Italy where they have to try new things, what would you recommend them to eat?
So we drink a lot of sparkling water.
Okay.
So I've had some friends that we're like, why did everybody drink sparkling water? It's like, we also have normal water. You gotta ask for it.
Yeah, just still water.
Yeah, so it's just that's one cool thing that about Italy and the meal at the table. There's always sparkling water. There's always bread sliced up.
Wine?
Yeah.
No?
There's definitely always wine.
Okay.
Yeah. But see, the wine is more like an appreciation pairing to the dinner rather than just drinking to get drunk.
Okay.
Type of thing.
Okay.
So like things to try. Definitely in like places like mountain places, like not Rome. I mean, Rome obviously it has amatriciana, it's got carbonara, all this.
Amatriciana?
Yeah, amatriciana
What is that?
is a tomato sauce with guanciale, which is the cheek of the pig, same as carbonara, right? But it's a tomato sauce with pecorino grated and pecorino cheese.
Interesting.
Cheese grated on top. That's they're famous for it. So amatriciana, carbonara, and and dishes like that. Milan's got veal ossobuco, risottos, the cotoletta alla milanese. There's all these dishes. I mean, honestly, here's what you need to do when you go. Don't walk into restaurants that try to get you to go in.
Oh.
Yes. So, like, say you're walking into Milan downtown or Rome downtown, or whatever. There's all these beautiful restaurants that got chairs all over the place and all that. And they have a person that clearly does not look Italian, and they will try to like, oh yeah, look at the menu. Okay, those are touristic traps, and those have nothing to do with Italian food.
Oh, okay. So they're expensive and not representing your country.
Not necessarily expensive. They're just not. They're as fake as they can be, and they're ran by foreigners. Like it's not. That's the problem. It's just.
It's not authentic.
Yes, no. They're somehow able to pay the rent for such a great location, but those are not the places to go.
Got it.
Small restaurants, maybe do some research on Google, and read some reviews, but ask locals. I mean, locals are not going to send you to a bad spot. They have no reason to.
So small family restaurants.
Yeah, small restaurants. I would definitely try a Michelin star restaurant if you can, just because of the experience is mesmerizing.
Different.
Yes, I mean, there's usually a story behind all the dishes, and like that is related to the chef childhood, and it's awesome. And to do something like that in America would cost way much. So I mean that's a cool experience. Definitely try we have a lot of bakeries. They're called pasticceria. So they make little like pastries, and they have little pizzas, focaccias, and all these things. And you can just walk in, and you can say, can I have a euro of pizza or a euro of focaccia? And they will measure it out to where it matches the cost of €1, and they'll give you a piece of whatever. And so that's cool. That's a walk around type of food. But into restaurants, as long as they're real good restaurants, then anything you get is going to be good, and you can ask suggestions to the staff and all that. I mean, you won't go wrong with it. You won't have a bad experience with food in Italy.
Do you need to know a little bit of Italian in order to go to Italy?
No.
You can speak English fine.
Yes. Yeah, I think that most places have evolved to where they can speak English good enough with everybody.
Even small towns, small villages?
I mean, if you go real deep, no.
Okay. But touristic destinations such as Rome, Venice, Milan, Sicily, all fine with English.
Yeah. It just they are able to let themselves understandable though. Like Italians are, because we move, and like it's, even if we can't speak, like my dad can't speak very good English, and my mom speaks pretty decent English. But I think that on a lot of occasions my dad is better than my mom, just because he just like be funny and like
gestures.
Like, yes, and he will just try, like he will just try words and come up with words and like slang, and then it'll turn out to be good, turn out to be perfect. And then my mom tries to be super specific and sophisticated and detailed. Like, and so I make fun of her because I tell her she tries to speak like Shakespeare and to be a poet, rather than just speak normal. You know? And,
So I usually ask my guests to teach me a little bit of their native language, which in this case is Italian. And I have seen some travel shows about Italy, of course, before our interview. And I know the gestures now.
Yeah.
But I need to know a little bit of Italian language. So the only thing I know in Italian is mi amor. Is that Italian? Or is that
Spanish.
French? That's Spanish?
Mi amor.
Never mind. See, I don't know nothing in Italian.
That's the funny thing. You just add an E to the end, and it's or actually you gotta add 2 letters. So mi amor is my love in Spanish.
Oh, that's what it means?
Right, I believe so.
Okay.
If that's what you're trying to say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just saw it somewhere like on a t-shirt or something like that, which is probably what it meant.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I know.
Yeah.
So teach me a little bit of Italian. How to say welcome to Italy in Italian.
Benvenuti in Italia. So benvenuti in Italia.
Benvenuti in Italia.
Perfect.
Italia?
Yeah, perfect.
Italia is Italia in Russian too.
Really?
Yes, Italia.
Yeah.
We just say it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Benvenuti
in
Italia. Benvenuti in Italia. How to say hello? Just
ciao.
Oh, ciao?
Yes. Ciao.
And how to say bye?
Also ciao. So you can be formal or you can be informal. So we have a ciao that's very informal. Say that to the friends.
It's like hi. Hey.
Yes, hi. Yes, correct. A ciao that's more formal to a person, say an older person than you or whatever, a person.
It's like a respectful version.
It's salve.
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 Salve. Salve.
Yeah. So it's just, but like. Most of the time is buongiorno, good morning.
Buongiorno,
yes.
I know that.
Yeah,
yes,
I figured.
yes.
Buonasera. Yes, so those are the most common way of greeting. Ciao is more like a friendly way of saying hi.
Is there any slang words that you guys say in Italy that Americans don't know about that I can learn?
So in my case, it's difficult to pick up to that as well because I live here and those change.
Yes, of course.
And so every time I go, it's usually like in between a year that I don't go, right? So I stay here for a while. And within that time, all kinds of things change. And so like these are one things that change so much. Slangs and words that are
trendy.
Trending words, trending things. And it's crazy because when I go, I'm still used to hearing the same things of last year, and then now it's completely different.
It's not trendy anymore.
So it's hard for me as well to pick up to that because I live here.
Do you guys say what's up?
No, not really.
Is there a version of it that you say like, how are you? Or something that you would say instead?
No, we don't really have something like what's up.
Just buongiorno or ciao?
Yeah, we can say ciao, come stai, come va? We say, how are you? How's it going?
Come va?
Come va?
Come va? Come va? Come va? Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Do you say signor?
No.
No?
Oh, well, it depends.
If it's like somebody older?
If it's somebody older, yes.
And you're trying to respect them, probably you say signor or signora.
Signora or
signora.
Yes. Like you would talk to him like, come va signora? Like if you were talking to my grandma, come va signora? It's like, how are you doing? How are you doing, lady? And also you're talking in third person because that's out of respect. So if you're talking formally, you want to use the third person also.
What is something that everyone should bring with themselves from Italy? Whether it's an experience or an item?
Okay, I think that an experience to do while you're there is visiting cheese factories or like prosciutto factories, mozzarella factories. I think or doing a wine tasting experience in a winery in Tuscany or Piedmont or something like that. That's something that it would make sense to go all the way to Italy and not do something like that. And you can't limit yourself to just the archaeologists, like architectural stuff and like big cities, touristical areas, and all that. Like I think those are the true experiences to have, and so because it's also an experience. It's something that you'll bring back forever.
Yes,
and it's not like a material thing, but you say you do a course of how to do a pizza or how to whatever. you will know that forever. So you can do that when you're back home with your family. I think that's pretty cool. I've done it even with my business. Do a pizza class with the kids and the parents, and I mean it was awesome. It was just a lot of fun. And so do these experiences that are food related and probably visiting churches and things like that. As far as bringing something back, whatever you mean something.
A bottle of wine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. A bottle of wine, that'd be great. It's just it doesn't last very long.
You will drink it the next day after you come back.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky here in Springfield because I'm happy with the Brown Derby International Wine Center.
Oh, so you can get your Italian wine here in Springfield?
Yes, they're expensive, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of varieties that I'm happy
Interesting.
with. So things are changing also in the positive with the years. 10 years ago, I couldn't find no Italian wine. I couldn't find mozzarella cheese. I couldn't find all kinds of ingredients. Now, thanks to social media, thanks to people sharing and all that.
And Amazon.
Yeah, of course. I have access to a lot more things, thankfully. But
so just wine tasting experience.
Clothes. Bring clothes back. Yeah, because clothes in America sucks. It's a hard time. I don't ever buy clothes here.
How is it different?
It's just I don't know. I'm asking myself. Like it's not that difficult to make like more fashionable clothes or it's just something that's not so old school.
So bring clothes from Italy. If you can.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You're listening to the American Dream Podcast. I'm here in the studio with Lorenzo, Signor Lorenzo from Italy. Welcome to the show and thank you for visiting me today. So this half of the podcast, I'm putting my laptop away because it's my favorite half because we're about to see the items that remind you of your homeland. And you brought a whole bag with you too. You came very prepared.
The bag is big. The content is a little smaller, but yeah, we got a couple things.
Yeah, so show me what you got.
Okay, so one thing that the typical Italian can't live without is simple, but it's the coffee machine. It's the coffee mocha machine that you fill it up with water at the bottom. I'm sure everybody's seen this before, but you fill water in here and you put coffee grounded in here and then put it on the stove and brews your coffee, your espresso, right? So this is just like the espresso.
Interesting.
Every single house in Italy will have at least one of these, and
yes, it says made in Italy. Now I know for sure.
They will last your whole life. So it's cool.
Perfect.
And
you brought this from Italy with you, right?
Yeah,
and you're still using it.
Yeah, of course. They last forever.
Interesting. How old is it? Like when did you brought it?
I don't know. I don't know. I had a smaller one. But this is bigger. I would usually do a smaller one for just like 1-2 people because that I think makes like 6 espressos because it's very small portions. But yeah, I brought that from Italy and.
What do you think of American coffee?
It's awful.
So where do you get your coffee?
Where do I get my coffee? I get. Brands that I know. I think that Home Goods have some stores like that carry. The European store sometimes carry things like that. It's just when I see it, I buy a bunch, so I don't run out. I also have a little Nespresso machine with the capsules, which is a little bit more convenient for like a quicker coffee. But
interesting.
Yeah, so that's why it's all like, looks like it's been beat, but it has. It's
used a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, it's clean and stuff. Like it's just not like it's not like it's dirty. It's just that's the purpose of it. You just refill it and does its thing. But it's cool. It's a cool thing.
Interesting.
Everybody has one of these in Italy. So
interesting. I never knew that. It's a very odd shape too. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, so like the coffee sort of slowly comes out of this. Very, very dense and
interesting.
Strong and intense flavor.
Okay. If you want to see those items, by the way, make sure you check out our YouTube, the American Dream Podcast, to see all these beautiful items. And I see that you have something else.
Over here.
Yes,
the logo,
yes.
like that.
Make sure the logo is out to the camera.
We're not getting paid for those advertisements.
No, we're not.
But anyways.
Maybe one day.
Anyway, so one thing I can't live without so like most of my items are cooking related, of course.
Yes.
So this is cake yeast, and this is priced in euros. So like you can tell, I brought it from Italy, bought it in Italy and brought it from Italy. And it's basically just packets of cake yeast that's got like a vanilla flavor to it, and I use them for baking.
Interesting. Okay. Lievito pane.
Lievito means yeast.
Oh, lievito.
Yes.
Lievito pane.
Pane degli angeli. Pane degli angeli means bread of the angels. So
and there is the angels on the box too.
Yep. Yeah, so that's the brand.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I do that for baking because baking doesn't allow
mistakes,
improvising, or just like
Absolutely.
eyeballing, like cooking. You know, when I cook, I don't measure anything, but on baking, you have to. And I don't use American measurements. I don't use gallons, cups. I don't.
Oh, it's like kilograms and grams.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And so, like, you know, recipes I use call for that, and it's much better. I mean, there's another cool thing is Sicilian capers from a salina, which is essentially a land where they grow those, and it's just like naturally salted water. And have you ever had capers?
Oh, man, no, this looks like raisins.
No, they're kind of, but they're not. So they're preserved in salt, and they're originally from Sicily, and so that's where. So
those are like flowers.
Kind of, yes. Capers is kind of a flower. You cook with that, so essentially, you build your sauces with it. It's good with seafood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you added kind of like a seasoning.
Well, you cook them down, like you can saute them, like it's good with some like garlic and like cherry tomatoes, parsley. What else? There's capers. And then you can add some seafood to it and make a sauce out of it. Anchovies maybe, but that just adds some saltiness and it just elevates the flavor of it. It's preserved in salt, so I wash them down a little bit and then put them to use. But it's just a specialty ingredient.
Very different looking. I've never seen anything like this before. It looks like raisins with salt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's one more. Here's one of my secret ingredients for my cooking. This is actually not Italian though. This is from Switzerland. Because you can only buy it in Switzerland. Italy and Switzerland luckily are close. And it's essentially is vegetable stock concentration. So like it's powder, but it's just essentially you use it for as beef stock or vegetable stock. For this one is specifically, and it's amazing. It's probably the best in the market. That thing costs like $40 just for that container, and you can only buy it in Switzerland. Which it doesn't smell necessarily.
Actually, it smells like a chicken soup.
Yeah, it doesn't. But it's just like a tiny spoon of that, and just.
Do you?
No.
You don't pour it like that?
No, I'm not that good. Not quite yet.
This smells amazing. So you use these items actually every single day, and you brought all of them from your last trip, or do you order some of those things online?
No, I can't. That one I cannot order online. So I put them in my bag.
Okay.
Some things I can order online if I run out, but I have to pay so much more for it.
Yes,
so I try
absolutely.
I don't bring that many clothes because I still have clothes at home. So when I go, I just try to give myself enough room to refill on things that I need.
Do you have an Italian flag displayed in your house?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't think I do.
Interesting. I think you're the first person that I've met.
I'm a soccer fan, and I have my soccer team flag. But I don't think I have an Italian flag on.
Well,
I think I
maybe
need
with
to do
this
that.
trip coming up, you can bring an
Yeah.
Italian flag back with you.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing you good luck with your upcoming trip. It should be
Thank you.
super fun. You said you haven't been there in a year or so.
Yep.
You're going to reunite with your family.
Yeah, I'm
Again,
excited.
yes.
I look forward to it. It's been a year and a
Yeah.
half, and man, it's not very easy to deal with.
Yes, yes. It should be a fun trip.
Yeah, it's going to be. We're going to Spain also for 3 days for just a little
Wow.
trip. But it sounds like it's crazy, but it's Spain and Italy are very close.
Yes.
The flights are cheap. It's easier to move around in Europe. It's easier to experience.
Everything is
different
close
cultures.
by.
Yes, everything is
Yes,
close by. And,
yes.
and you go from a completely different language, country, a culture, anything to a completely different thing within an hour of flight, and like maybe $40, $50. In America, you can't do that.
No, it's very different and very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Have fun on your trip.
Thank you.
Good luck. And
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for visiting me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for tuning into the American Dream Podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on your favorite platform. Keep dreaming and see you next time.